Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime.
Welcome, everyone, to Reckless Speculation. I know it's this time of the year. Everyone's depressed. It is post-football season. But don't you worry, we are here to keep you guys entertained. We have got a lot of good topics to hit today, and on the upcoming weeks, we're going to have a lot of controversial and reckless speculation topics for you guys to hit on. But today, we are going to talk about the football year in review, talk about college basketball, and finally, I have talked the group into talking a segment about the Daytona 500 and the upcoming trip that Tom, I, and a loyal listener, Barry, have coming up to Talladega. But before we get started, everyone, if you'll please like this show, subscribe, comment. It really helps us, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Twitter /X, Instagram, some podcast, or Spotify. We would really appreciate it. Without further ado, thanks for watching, and I'm going to welcome in our team. I know for a fact we have Tom on. Tom, how are you?
Mr. Robbie, how are you tonight?
Hey, I'm doing very, very well.
Yes, I'm looking forward to the NASCAR Daytona recap. Should be a lot of fun hitting on that.
It's only taken, a year and a half, maybe 2 years? We're going on 2 years now? I can't keep track of it. We finally got a NASCAR topic.
We're branching out.
Yes.
We're not just football around here.
Yes. And I know for a fact backstage we have Brandon Chain.
What's going on, fellas?
Hey, welcome.
I think branching out is just the necessity of how bad the other sports have been lately.
Yeah,
so,
you're right.
AKA NBA. So
Yes. And then I don't know whether or not, I'm guessing we do not have Raj yet.
Nope, he has not entered the green room as of yet. But
okay.
As soon as he does, we'll bring him on. We graciously await his arrival.
Yes, Indian Standard Time is not only is it late, it's kind of flexible on how late it can be, but nonetheless, we will march on. So, guys, I talked about it briefly in the intro. Football is behind us. We, as any podcast that does, and most of them do, football kind of writes itself, and we were able to talk about that. So now is when we get actually creative and we start having some more character to our show. But we're not leaving football in the rearview mirror just yet. Tom, I want to start with you. You had obviously Michigan win the championship. You had Detroit make the playoffs, win some playoff games. I'm not going to ask, is this the best football season of your life? Because I think it has to be. My question is this because Detroit, the Tigers won the World Series, the Red Wings have won multiple Stanley Cups, but is this the best sports season of your life?
It's up there. It's definitely up there. Football-wise, no question. Never thought really I would see Michigan win one, and that was awesome. What a great year there. And then what the Lions did, and I've talked about it before. Just incredible being a part of that and how they were, a couple plays away from the Super Bowl, which would have been wild. But, I look back to 2006 was probably really memorable for me as far as that goes. The Tigers went to the World Series. They didn't win, But they were 2 years removed from the worst record in American League history. So the turnaround that they experienced was incredible. They got Pudge Rodriguez in 2005, and in 2006 they were World Series bound. So that ranks up there. They haven't won a World Series since '84. I was 6 years old. So, but yeah, that was an awesome year. 2004. We were talking pre-show about some of our memorable NBA champions, and of course the Pistons won it in 2004. That was a cool run for me. I lived like 2 miles from the Palace, so I was right in the thick of it. So, but as far as this season goes, it's definitely top 5, and it's going to be hard to top that moving forward in the next year. Obviously, Michigan's made a lot of changes, and can Detroit, the Lions, keep the ball rolling? But as far as overall, yeah, top 5 for sure, no question about it.
To have one championship and even a championship in a playoff season is foreign to me. So I get to live vicariously through you.
Yeah, you guys at least got to a Super Bowl though. So.
Yeah, and lost the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
So
forgot what my sweatshirt said. Oh, Dos Angeles. Oh, that was a good year.
Well, welcome, Raj. Welcome.
And the 2004 Pistons. They dismantled Raj's Lakers.
That wasn't even the Lakers. That was like the AARP Lakers. But yeah, that sucked. But no, man, you deserve, especially a city like Detroit, as I've said many times. It was America's darling, America's sweetheart until America was done with it. And then they completely ignored it, washed it up, and threw it away. And it stayed that way on its own for years. And no town deserves this more. And there are better things to come.
Mm-hmm.
How is the Tigers' outlook this year, Tom?
They finished, I think, 10 games over 500 if you from May on last year, and they finished second in the Central. They've got such an array of young arms, young talent, and I'll talk about that later. But the expectations are division this year, and with AJ Hinch as their manager, I think they've got a really good chance as long as they stay healthy.
In a very winnable division.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. So this is the time of year where we all have to struggle with the moving on from football and what happens next. Brandon, I know you're not a huge NCAA basketball guy or basketball guy in general. Where does your attention go? Does it go to the NBA, NCAA? You waiting for golf, or where's your mindset at this time of the year?
I've already been watching golf. I mean, that's really all that's on. I've tried to watch Ohio State NCAA. They're just god awful this year, and it's hard to watch.
Tell that to Purdue.
Well, that was Purdue overlooking an easy team. That happens.
Tough critic.
But no, they're terrible. I've watched them play. They don't really have any shooters. They don't move the ball well. It's awful. But I'm trying to get there because March is around the corner. So I'm trying to catch, some of the late games when I actually get down to bed and want to click something on before I go to bed. So trying to get up to date on the NCAA. NBA is almost unwatchable now. I just can't, especially after that performance in the All-Star game, which we'll get to that. But it's so bad. But golf for sure, especially lift tour coming here.
What I find, at least, so this is my compare and contrast before I get to Raj about college basketball and NCAA or college basketball and NBA. At least I can gamble on college basketball because they try every night.
Right.
The NBA, I find it ungambleable on.
Well, you don't know who's going to, scratch last minute, sit out, or take a rest or whatever it is.
The over.
The All-Star game was easy money, though, on the East. Easy, and I'll explain why.
Yeah, well,
but that was unwatchable. What a terrible product.
I didn't watch a fucking minute of it, but
we'll go straight to Raj. Talk about the NBA All-Star game. You said you already, said you didn't watch. Did you watch any of the All-Star Weekend, the dunk contest, 3-point shootout? I didn't watch it. I thought the 3-point shootout between Steph and Sabrina was cool.
Yeah.
Or at least the idea was cool. I didn't see it, but did
I
you watch
agree.
any
And
of
they
it?
had done it last year, I believe. And I believe that had the highest ratings of anything all weekend. I believe. I was trying to verify. My apologies for being late. Everyone's busy in life. I'm not going to bother. But I'm pretty sure, and at least by me, that was the most interesting thing. You know, you've got and Steph Curry, kudos to him for doing that, knowing that, you know, he's the marquee name. He's 35 now. And, you know, in the dunk contest, those guys, hey, he's 34, 35. And in the dunk contest, you know, the vets don't do it. It's for the up and comers. And now it's for guys that don't even play in the league. In Mac McClung, who plays like 2 games a year and suddenly is in the dunk contest. And,
YouTube sensation.
You know, a short white guy that can get up. Like there was a guy, Jordan Kilgannon, who won the dunk contest show they had on NBA TV that lasted 2 years. And that's what this has become. And if you're going straight to me, I bet on the East. They were 3.5-point dogs. I almost took the over, which was over 300 something. The East scored 211 points. It was the first time in history a team had scored 200 points, including a 100-point quarter, which did happen in the first quarter. And I guess the third quarter and the fourth quarter. The second quarter only had 93 combined points. I bet the East because of the reason why the All-Star game is a joke. And it's an in-season tournament and arguably the most rigorously athletic season there is in the NBA. You don't have a week off. It's not like there's a week off in football. But, you know, if you're a star, you're playing every night, back-to-back 80 games. Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Michael Jordan, they had additional 5, 6, 7 seasons in playoff games on their legs. You know, 4 rounds of 7 games each. It's ridiculous. And now they add the in-season tournament. The NBA All-Star Game is an event. It's people that, you know, in the NFL, they don't go to the All-Star Game to hang out. But everyone goes to party at the NBA All-Star Game. It's like a red carpet.
It's a pageant show.
That's all it is. So, I mean, the first thing I would do is get rid of all the bullshit and put it after the season. 3 weeks after the season.
Like the Pro Bowl.
Like the Pro Bowl. You know, have it more relaxed and more fun because I've been on the East because the West starting lineup is all 30-year-old vets that are not going to play. LeBron played 13 minutes last year. He played 14 this year. Luka, 20 minutes. Dallas is not going to risk that. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to play because he's young and they can bounce back. Durant, 20 minutes. Anthony Davis, 20. Paul George, 10. Kawhi, 10. None of those guys were going to play compared to the East where, you know, Tatum had 50 last year. Lillard played 30 minutes, new team, MVP, 39 points. Halliburton, awesome kid, averaging almost a triple-double at home, 32 points, 30 minutes. What's his name? And Jaylen Brown, 36. Young, active stars that played. So that was easy money. As for the game itself, yeah, like I said, make it after the season because adding the in-season and then adding this means that, like, people – I mean, the players are going to play even less. And they try to give them $100,000 for the team winning. Let's be fucking real here. I mean, that's a lot of money to any of us. A lot. Maybe not Rob or actually Chade. But the in-season tournament, some guys got $500,000. Great. That's 10 seconds of LeBron James playing. It's not going to make anybody play harder. And if it does, it'll make the young guys who then beat the shit out of the old guys who people come to see play. So everybody leaves with a sour taste in their mouth.
So my suggestion would be, so right now it's obvious the NFL has said, screw you, NBA, we're taking over Christmas.
Yep.
I think you put it on Christmas Day. You guys play hard as you can. We'll give you 2 weeks off after Christmas. You play best on best and play your ass off. And let's see if we can get some eyeballs.
Or
But
make
it's
it
like-
make it like baseball. Make it
What
like
if somebody
baseball.
gets hurt though?
Well,
What's
look
that?
at
Make it matter in baseball.
I mean, this whole hurt injury, you can get hurt any game.
that's the thing. It's the risk
Yeah,
of the thing. But
yeah.
I enjoyed
When
that.
there's 5 players and you have an international global superstar like a LeBron James. I mean, the game means nothing. And I would scrap the game altogether. Fuck it. Make the dunk contest. Give that $500,000 to the winner of that.
I mean, I didn't know. One, I didn't know who won the dunk contest. When you said he was white, if you would have asked me what his name was he white or black, how tall he was, I would have had no idea.
His name's Mac McClung. I mean, an educated.
He's back to back. He was a YouTube sensation guy.
Yeah.
He got.
I mean, who else was even in it? Like, was
No one else that I know.
Javier, what's his name? Vasquez. Why am I blanking? Jaime Jaquez from UCLA, who barely dunked at UCLA.
Yeah, I don't even know who that is either.
Yeah, I mean, he was the first round pick of the Heat, but I was like, wait a minute, that dude doesn't really get up. Like I said, give that $500,000 prize to this and see what young up and comers. You know, when Jordan and Neek did it in '88, they were both 3-4 years in the league. The game means nothing.
Well, and I mean, they like basketball.
I thought that new tournament they did this year, the in season, beginning of the season tournament they did this year, that was a lot more entertaining than something of this nature. Like that actually kind of meant something, and you had your star players playing hard. I mean, everyone obviously it's the beginning of the year, everyone's anxious to get back at basketball.
Lakers hung a banner for that.
They did,
and the bracket was kind of weird. But all the more reason not to have an all-star game in the middle of the year.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen. Let's move on from a non-basketball event to some real basketball.
Real basketball?
Yeah.
What
transition?
No transition. We are Spirit Airlines today, folks.
I thought Brandon was hosting those.
Yeah.
We're low frills, that's for sure.
Brandon looks like
frozen. Oh no!
Did he shit? Somebody shit in his Cheerios. You're supposed to take over, Brandon. That's what he's saying. I don't think he can hear anything.
Sorry, wow.
Oh.
I can't hear right now.
Technical difficulties. All right.
All right. Well, I'll
Tom,
take over.
Tom, go ahead and take over.
I'd love to, because for once, I would like to talk about the University of Tennessee. I've said it before, being a transplant, Tennessee football can kick rocks, mainly because of the fans who are so unrealistic and boast every single year. Whereas the basketball team, I'm a basketball purist. I like Rick Barnes. I like the offense he runs. I like how he preaches defense and what he does. And case in point is what he's done with the Northern Colorado transfer, the White Mamba. And that's the difference. And Rob, I'm going to ask you right now, number one, what do the Vols look like to you? And number two, I think this year is different, even from the Grant Williams and Schofield loaded teams. Am I right? And why?
Yes, you are right. You are right that they look different. Obviously, this is a wild sport, and anything can happen in one game playoff. But look, this is a Sweet 16 team last year that had Zakai Ziegler hurt on the last game of the regular season, play without him all postseason. Still one of the Sweet 16. You add Ziegler back, and you add probably the SEC Player of the Year. This is a guy who, I saw a mock draft today where they're talking about him going to the Hawks. I would love that. At number 10, NBA, he has learned discipline and some defense under Barnes. He is because let's be honest, at least with Tennessee and most every team in college basketball, it's not the NBA. It's not easy to make shots. You're going to need at some point a guy to throw the ball and get you a bucket. And Dalton Connect is that dude without question. He is 6'6". He can handle. He can drive. He's creative. He is everything they have been lacking. They've been ranked in the top 10 more often than they haven't under Rick Barnes. And this is the best chance they have to break through. It's insane that a school with the resources, with the fan base, everything that Tennessee hasn't got to a Final Four yet. They're ranked top 15 in KenPom offense and defense efficiency. If you look back at the past 10 champions, that's what you need. Obviously, Purdue and UConn are juggernauts, but they have proven they can be beaten. I'm giddy. All the other, the slim minority of the Tennessee fans that just suck can just fuck the hell off.
Well, we have Rich Jasper checking in from Germany.
Germany,
ladies and gentlemen, wanting to know if we did any strip club reviews. Well, not sure.
Hey,
it's been a long time
Talladega preview.
I was gonna say.
Yeah,
you walk around Talladega, it's a strip club out there. So.
Yes,
multiple continents. Let me know.
Yes.
Now, sorry guys, I had a little technical difficulties there. Tennessee, I think they've got the team; they could do it. It's just, as we all know, when you get in that tournament, it's who's the hot hand, who's got the ball at the end. Like, there's so many factors that go into it. But as far as putting them, can they win it or can they make the Final Four? Absolutely. I mean, they've got the team to do it. They've got the shooters. They've got the defense. I've actually watched them more than I have the Buckeyes because we're so terrible. But yeah, and just, I think the whole Tennessee athletics as of late has really kind of stepped it up a little bit. I'm not a big Vols fan or anything, but got to give them a little props. I mean, all sports are doing really well right now.
I know that hurt you, Brandon. I know that hurt.
Yeah. Well, Raj, I give credit where credit's due. So,
Raj, you're a big college hoops fanatic like I am. Right now, who do you have as the favorites? And talking Vols, is Tennessee one of those?
For the first time in a long time, absolutely. And it comes down to a few things. Last year, let me say this. What Connect is doing reminds me of what Kemba Walker did with UConn, with Carmelo.
That's a great comparison.
And he's a guy that can Wayne Ellington back in the day with North Carolina, Chalmers with Kansas the year before. He's a guy that can put a team on his back. And Tennessee, I thought the Schofield and Grant Williams, I'm a big fan of bangers, and I call those guys the tweeners back in the day, 6'6", 6'7" to 6'9", 230 to 250. I thought that was the team, but they did not have a go-to scorer who can get his own shot off and create his own shot. And, Shabazz Napier with UConn 2014 just popped in my head, and Connect is that guy. He is a pure basketball player. I thought he was a 6'6" white guy with slow feet who was, basically had long range. When I saw him play the first time, I was astonished. Back to the basket. Feet, mid-range, getting to the basket, using his body, drawing contact. You can't be a high scorer without getting to the line. That guy does it all. He's got a beautiful fade. In many ways, in the college game, he's very difficult to guard. He had, 30 points in 4 out of 5 games, the first time that's been done in the SEC in 14 years. In SEC plays averaging 24.4 points per game. But the difference with him, and he said it himself, is defense. At Northern Colorado, he didn't play defense. And his favorite player growing up was KD. And that's one of the reasons why he went to Barnes. And Tennessee staff worked relentlessly with this kid who, again, is long-armed. And, they started smart, getting him in passing lanes. They've got aggressive guards, very complex, sound defenses that challenge shots and hold teams to low percentages. He can roam, and he's become a hell of a defensive player, a complete player, which is why he's a lottery pick. So all in all, they have that go-to guy. They've got experienced guards. They've got some Gainey starting to play a lot better. Guys coming off the bench.
Adeyu and Toby Waka are really coming into their own. The one thing that really worries me, though, is free throws. They have not shot the free throw very well, and that counts in March.
It does. That's an easy fix.
Well, you would think. I wish Huntley Hatfield stayed because Adu's awesome, but I think they need more on the front line when it comes to the tournament.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot more balance in some of those other teams. But that was a long way to say the White Mamba has impressed the fuck out of me, and Tennessee is absolutely a championship contender this year.
Well, from a championship contender to I don't want to ruin the night, but I have to ask. USC start of the season, top 25, highly rated recruiting class. Bronny James in this class. They're sitting 4-11 in conference, 10-16 overall. Coach came from Gulf Coast, Andy Enfield. Such great hype, and what's happened for most of us who don't stay up after dark? What's happened?
This is the worst season I've ever seen. The expectations were top 15 or higher preseason by a lot of accounts. They got the number one recruit in the country, Isaiah Collier, the point guard out of Georgia. Boogie Ellis returned, which ended up being a bad thing, and it really killed ball movement among other things, and it caused a good young guard, Silas Demery Jr., to change his mind and go to Georgia, where he's playing great. But Bronny had cardiac arrest. Last year, 5-star Vince Uwachukwu had cardiac arrest. Almost dying is obviously the worst thing, and their health is most important. But it happened in the off seasons, and that's the most pivotal time between high school and your first college basketball game. The team was gelling. They were leaving for Greece. They were crushing, and Bronny almost dies. And not to mention the effect it has on them emotionally. But that was just the beginning of the end. And last year, Iwachukwu, he never bounced back. And Collier, we learned, doesn't play defense at all. He was considered a number one pick overall. And his defensive effort is absolute trash. Same with Boogie Ellis. 4 guys have had significant injuries, but it's really come down to the opposite of what they're used to, which is developing players and playing as a team and playing good defense. And instead they have egos and 5 stars, and it's been a total shit show.
Raj, we're getting a bit of an echo on you, so see if you can adjust your audio. Tom, I'm going to go to you real quick on this. So Bronny James, obviously astronomical expectations because of his name. Freshman at USC, he's averaged 5.7 points a game, I think. But I've heard talks of the Lakers thinking about drafting him probably to appease, not probably, but to appease his dad, obviously. Well, one, what do you think about Bronny James's freshman year? And 2, would that him going pro be good for anyone?
Well, I think Raj hit it as far as his freshman year goes. You're coming back from an episode where you almost died. How mentally prepared are you to take on the next season? maybe he came back a little too early. Maybe he thought it would help him out a little bit more by coming back. I'm not sure. But I do know coming out of high school, he didn't have his dad-like numbers. I don't think many people do. So I don't know if he's any better than where he's at right now. Maybe next year he gets a little bit more prepared. He has a little bit more uh, uh, faith in his game and his health, and it'll improve. But I really don't think Bronny is much better than where he's at. And as far as him going to the Lakers, that would absolutely be a gimmick pick. That would keep LeBron there for at least one season. And he has made mention before that he wanted to play with his son. And he's even made other comments that said he wants to play with his younger son, who apparently is a lot better than Bronny. So it would be a gimmick pick. It would be a Mac McGlung in the dunk contest. Just you put him on the bench. Maybe he gets some court time with his dad in mindless minutes. But I don't think he's an NBA player. I think he's definitely taken advantage of his name. But another year of preparation and feeling like more of himself. Maybe he can come out in his sophomore year and do something a little bit more than what he's doing. But I wouldn't count on it.
Well, Brandon, I'll go to you real quick, and then we'll go back to Raj for some final Bronny James comments. I'm thinking of people in that position. Off the top of your head, who can you think of children that have had dad professional stars that have outperformed them? I'm thinking Ken Griffey Jr., Barry Bonds.
How about Charlie Woods, who just tried to qualify for a PGA event?
He's not going to outdo his dad, though, is he?
No, he's not going to outdo his dad.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, we have this image in our head that these kids of these great superstars are going to be equivalent or better. These are generational talents that we witness, and their kids, although they have the same DNA, it's just not going to happen. Like, very rarely do you see your kid surpass, like you said, maybe Bonds Jr., but that's very rare that you see something like that.
That's the only two I can think of, really.
Yeah, but you look, LeBron's considered, top 3, top 5 of all time. Tiger's considered, top 2, top 3 golfer of all time. There's no way. If his kid made top 25 of all time, that would be an amazing feat.
Charlie could win 13 majors. 13.
Yeah.
And still not to his dad.
Still not be that. Yeah. Charlie, let's be honest. I'm not here to bash Charlie. Like this, he's a 15-year-old kid. He's got a tremendous amount of pressure on him. And he tried to pre-qualify for a PGA qualifying event. Okay. He didn't do so well today. Tons of pressure, but he's 15. All right. Give the kid a break. We've all seen him in the PNC. He is a phenomenal talent. Golf's hard, blah, 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 all that comes with it. He'll be fine. I'm sure he'll make the PGA with all his training and his talent. Now, the expectation of him being his dad, that's just not going to happen. Like that, people need to get that out of their head. Same with Bronny. I don't care which son it is, the one that hasn't made it to college yet, or Bronny. It's not going to happen. You're not going to see them turn into LeBron James 2.0. It's just not going to happen. So let's give these kids a break, especially coming off of almost dying. Let's pump the brakes. Just let him enjoy his college career. Let him play. If he makes it to the NBA and gets to play with his dad, that would be awesome. But don't force something like that, and don't put that pressure, because that brings a whole nother basket of nerves into your game where you don't trust yourself and you got all this additional pressure. So I don't like all that. I think they need to kind of calm the spotlight on him. But
all right. One of our listeners, James Thomas, talking about Peyton and Eli over Archie. That's a good one also. Pat Mahomes outdid his dad in a different sport. That's good. Not necessarily the same, but he surpassed him for sure.
Yeah.
Raj, real quick, what are your thoughts on Bronny?
I mean, to compare the two of them is silly and it's stupid. If you watch basketball, I'm not trying to diss anybody else, but the world has to by name. LeBron James was 6'7", 235, 240 pounds at 18, 19. He's 6'9", about 250 of pure muscle now. He's a freight train, a freak, a 39-year-old who posts triple doubles. Nobody's ever done that. They're different players, and Bronny knows that. He's a 6'4", 210-pound combo guard. He's the reason why it hurt USC so much is he's a high IQ player. He's a facilitator. He can play the 1, 2, and 3. He has amazing man defense. He's a great man defender. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. And I was so impressed with his attitude and hustle. And you don't see that kid that grew up, with 100 and 350 million. He's a different player, and he knows it. What you do see is the mental IQ on and off the floor. So and he's going to be a good player somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If he needs another tier at USC, yes. If he goes in the draft, he's probably drafted at some point by a damn good team and can sit and watch. And, he's going to get bigger, but he is a guy that can do a lot of different things.
Hey, Raj, let me ask you this. Since you watch UT basketball, what you're describing to me sounds a lot like Josiah Jordan-James. Like
he's way more athletic.
Well, no, but I'm saying like he is a smart basketball player, and like his plus minus, you won't be like, oh my gosh, he played well. But you look at the box score, plus minus is up there, usually one of the highest on Tennessee's team. And so
he's a glue guy, just like Josiah Jordan-James.
Yeah, he'll frustrate fans because they don't know what's happening. But in the system that is ran, he knows what's going on.
He's a glue guy, and he's only started a couple games. People look at just the numbers, and he started those games because the starting backcourt was injured for 2 weeks. He didn't want to start. He was going to come off the bench, and he's good with everything. You don't hear him in the media. Just a very smart, humble kid that does everything well. And with time, he can be much better than that.
All right. So let's move from the hardwood to the racetrack.
Yeah. I can't wait, dude. Okay. I've been looking forward to hosting something about auto racing for quite a while. I'm an expert on this because I watched the Netflix show, and then the guy who I liked won it Byron, what was his name?
Ryan
Blaney.
Blaney. I like that other dude too who had they all had hot girlfriends, dude. I was like, shit.
Well, did you notice none of them were married either? They did it right.
Exactly. Smart dudes, man. It's like Dale Jr.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, you don't bring sand to the beach. And speaking of, let's transition quickly to there. Tom, I understand that you by yourself are going down to Talladega. Are you just like looking for saggier, like strange boobs than what you see in the north, the northern bit of the country?
Are you serious?
No, I'm just.
Well, you better take that back. You better take that back.
That's not a reference. I said strange boobs. That's a different
saggy.
thing.
You use the word saggy.
Yeah, but he's trying to say the normal boobs you see are not.
I'm not talking about the normal ones.
Yeah, he's talking about the
if there was a race in Michigan.
Yeah.
What you'd see on the infield versus or the gallery, whatever you call it. But all I know is that when I've seen Talladega, I've been looking for boobs, and then I see it, and I'm like, it's kind of like wanting to see a crash segue.
Yeah.
And then seeing the effect it has on the race.
It'll be like a TikTok weekend, that's for sure.
We will have multiple I guess TikTok videos and whatever we do from Talladega. But yes, I've convinced Tom to come down. I think he's flying in Friday. I'm picking him up. Are you flying in from Atlanta or Chattanooga?
The initial plan is flying in Thursday and heading up to Chattanooga from Atlanta. But I will say, after watching that Netflix series and seeing what was like Talladega, I immediately texted Robbie. I said, "Are you going to Talladega this year?" Because I know he went last year. And he said, "Oh, we're going." I said, "April or in September?" He goes, "In April." I'm like, "Let's go. Let's do it."
Why this year, though? Like, what are you looking forward to? Why this year? You're more of a purist, or did Netflix help convince you as well?
Well, I think I got into it from this show, from talking with Robbie during the down times of not having football in between baseball and whatnot. I took the time and started watching some of these races, and they're exciting. And it didn't hurt that I was picking winners, and they were coming in from time to time. If only I would have bet the money. But no, it's exciting, and I think there's more to it than the races. I think you have the drivers have a lot of personality, and they've really marketed these drivers really well. Like, take for example last week's winner, William Byron. He learned playing a simulator. He learned how to drive a race car by driving a simulator. So, I mean, they're not your prototypical NASCAR cousin fucker drivers. They're guys you can get behind.
Dad in Alabama now.
You're gonna put it right in.
Yeah.
But no.
Are you guys? One question: are you guys camping at Talladega, or are you just going to the race?
No, we're renting a premium motorhome.
Yeah,
RV.
so we got an RV.
Are you in the infield?
No, we're not. I'm not in my 20s anymore. So we're close to the entrance.
You're on the campground across the street.
We're in Winners Walk too, so we're like right by the entrance of the racetrack.
Good luck with all that.
Is there still a no deuces on the RV rule, or do people take deuces on the RV? Because back in the day there was no.
I made sure we're close to the shower house, so use the bathroom, like even pee unless you can't. At least you can in the RV. But yeah, we got an RV coming on Thursday. So I'm in trial, a big trial, starting Monday to Thursday or Friday that week. So I'm either going to be rich walking away from going down to Talladega, or I'm going to be pissed off and poor.
You'll bet it all back on Talladega.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, some of my West Coast boys, even though racing is big out there, certain prominent racers from there. We got Fontana's a big race.
Jimmy Johnson, one of the greatest race car drivers of all time.
Exactly. Jimmy Johnson from Southern California, I believe.
Yeah.
But what is it about Talladega that makes it so fun? Is it
the greatest
crowd itself and the attitude and the energy? Is it the race itself? Because it seems to run pretty clean compared to others, which we'll get to in a second. But
Brandon's been there. Brandon, you haven't spoken in a while. What do you think about the Talladega?
Talladega was like Daytona's fun and cool and everything. There's nothing like Talladega. It's the best race by far, in my opinion. When I used to watch it a lot, I've been, I think, 3 times to Talladega, and man, it's incredible.
Why?
I know it's a restrictor plate race, but they are just wide open the entire time. I mean, there's hardly any breaks. I mean, there's so much strategy that goes into it. I was telling Tom before for the broadcast, they rent these headphones out.
Yeah.
And so you get the headphones and you can click on your driver, you can listen to the pit and your driver talking back and forth strategies. So you really learn a lot about strategy and race and like all this other in-depth stuff, like conserving fuel, draft, 2 tires, 4 tires, and why, like reasons why. I mean, it's really incredible everything that goes into a race, because
it's brilliant, man. NASCAR was brilliant.
Yeah, for the layman's people or, whatever watching, you just turn it on. It's like you watch a bunch of cars going in circles. You're like, I don't understand it, but there's so much more that goes into it. But Talladega it's like the Super Bowl of, which I think they actually consider Daytona that, but I think Talladega is the Super Bowl of NASCAR.
Well, the
Is he right?
Talladega is massive, and so in comparison, you could take the Big House, you could take the Horseshoe, you could take Neyland Stadium, you could put them in the infield of Bristol Motor Speedway. You can put Bristol inside the infield of Talladega.
Yeah,
like Talladega is massive, and so you get these long runs of going 200 miles an hour and then slowing down to like 125 and turning and over again, all within inches of each other. Like it's just an amazing.
when they go 3 wide, they're making.
Yeah,
I mean, like a crazy bank, like a 33-degree bank, like on top of those.
Literally, they don't even turn the steering wheel. Like the bank, just turns for them.
It's almost
extreme. It seems like I love it.
It's almost like a putting green, right? Like you can putt it and like you putt it straight and it'll just drop the ball down.
You don't know anything about putting.
All right, now Jesus Christ! I looked at a picture of Talladega. It looks like the city of Chattanooga. What is it about the rest of it that makes it fun? I mean, I can't imagine all the ladies, for those that love ladies and that party a lot, are hot. Like, is it just the train wreck thing that makes everybody's got a great attitude? What is it about it?
It's like a redneck Mardi Gras in the campgrounds.
I call that Tuesday, though.
I would never bring my wife again. Like, I brought Sarah, and I was like, we're not ever coming back here. So if you go with the boys, do not go with the girls. It's not.
I would say, I agree with that. I agree with Brandon's statement. And I also say there's this kind of sacredness about it of everyone understands, don't ruin it. And what I mean by that is like you can still bring your own coolers in. You can still like I brought in 2 32-ounce Nalgene bottles, one with vodka, one with whiskey, in a cooler, both races, just walked in and set them in. And then like it didn't I was with a friend of mine last year, and he's like, "Did you bring your gun?" I'm like, "I don't have a gun." And he's like, "You're the only one here without a gun." And I was like, "Well, that's bad news." But with that being said, like you go in and everyone's chill. Like there are some aggressive people about the girls, but it's like there's also kind of
drunken night stuff over at the campground, and just stay away from that. And you can steer away from it.
Yes, you can have whatever time you want to have there.
It's time and a place in your life for everything. And
well, and there's certain areas where that goes on, and it doesn't go on everywhere in the campground. It's just like certain section, and you just
it's very much what do you want to get into, and this is where you go. But yeah, like the whole no security, like even like I was told all week you can bring your cooler in, it doesn't matter, and I was like, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. And then I walked right in. I'm like, holy.
I believe you.
Yeah.
I'll be bringing a backpack filled with Busch
I kind of want to go to
Lights.
Talladega now. When is it?
April
22nd. Come on. I got 2 extra tickets. So Brandon and Raj.
Are brown people allowed inside?
Yes.
Yeah. Bubba Wallace drives now. Throw your 23 shirt on.
Alabama, dude.
There's
but
brown people racing.
Moving.
Come on.
Oh yeah, kind of. Some of them are half. No,
Bubba Wallace.
That dude ain't. I've heard him. Anybody named Bubba doesn't. That's the exception. But no, I'm just kidding. No, I saw him and his team, and I loved it. And I love Denny's attitude. I know, like I like heels, and he does what he does perfectly. But moving on to what is often considered the most sacred race for a lot of different reasons, that I think it let a lot of people down this year more, and not talking about the more serious stuff, but Daytona, I did try to watch a little bit of it and it was hard, not just because of the weather, but I read that of the 114 vehicles among the 3 races, approximately 85 were involved in a major crash. I know people like crashes and stuff, but what does that do to a race for you and then for the average casual fan like Brandon or I or Tom? Was this Daytona different? Did the flow, was it anything? I mean, this seems like it was more wrecks than usual.
Well, it was
and
clean.
let's just get to the obvious too, everybody, about Daytona. We all know what we're talking about. Is it time for a change? Has that been discussed?
Well, I think this race, I think the race in general was clean up until 8 laps to go. And then what, 80% of the field was wiped out and only 7 drivers came out unscathed, and then there was a lot of heat that was taken that, they only got one more lap in, and pretty much the race ended almost in a caution. They barely got the lap in. So I think they took some heat from that. But last year's Daytona, what did they do? Like 5 different restarts? And there was a lot of crashes.
A lot of overtimes last year. Yeah.
Just one little caveat here, Raj. Every restrictor plate race, there's always a big one. And that's what they call it. There's always a huge wreck that involves a ton of cars. And anytime you have restrictor plate, it's typically towards the last 15 laps or so. You're going to have people starting to get a little antsy and a little aggressive. They're going to push and they're going to nudge and knock someone out of the way.
Yeah.
It's NASCAR's racing that happens every single time. So,
well, yeah, and for some background, so NASCAR is unique in this kind of situation where the playoffs, essentially, if you win a race, you're in. And so when you get to these last few laps, if you're close, you go for it. Mm-hmm. And if you wreck, be damned, because you have 30 more races to try to get into the playoffs. And now so Daytona is the one that you're all going to be close all race long. So you make maneuvers you wouldn't in other races.
Right. But you're going to have some of the more aggressive drivers, AKA dirty drivers, that are going to nudge you and
Ross Chastain.
Things in that.
Ross Chastain.
You're going to see
Byron calls a couple of racks end up winning, which is crazy.
Well, I saw like the 4th tier race I read was just like 9 cautions with like 80 laps. They're just a lot of other overall for the entire weekend, if you were there. And of course the rain didn't help, that this year seemed to suck more than others. And I just was going to ask, did you guys feel that way? Does the flow of the race, it seemed like to me, if the race ends, with 1 lap and on caution or 2, what do they call it? 2 cars start.
I hate the new rules that they have.
I agree.
Like it would suck.
It shouldn't be able to win on a caution. Like that was a technicality. I won a bunch of money because I bet on Chevy cars, but they were 1 and 2. They should have had a chance to run that out because they were neck and neck, and that was and there was a big race last year. I can't remember which one it was, but it may have been Talladega that I was at that ended on
I remember there was one that it went like 5 cautions or something that ended on a caution. We all
it was Talladega. It was Talladega. That's the one it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Do people boo and shit because you're there for 5? I know.
Wasn't last year the first year of the new rules?
Yeah.
So that's overtime. It's awful. It's terrible.
It's the journey, not the destination. I'm sure for the enthusiasts, but I'd be pissed off. Like what the fuck? I've been waiting here for the end, and for somebody as a layperson, and they're like, "Oh yeah, it ends on a caution." Like what?
Well, it's especially because to let you inside on these guys, like what they did, like after the Daytona 500, they raced the Xfinity Series. They're going to do mud track racing. They race all weekend long, all night long.
Yeah, truck races, the dirt track,
so
all
it's not endurance, it's not time. It's just like it's a disservice. These new overtime rules are a disservice to the drivers.
I was listening to, actually I didn't, I saw a video clip of Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s podcast, and he had his wife on the show. And they were talking about how the race pretty much ended on a caution. And his wife's like, I think that's bullshit. I hate when races end in a caution. And Dale goes, that's how Dale Earnhardt won his Daytona 500. She's like, I don't care. It's still bullshit. So
that guy's like Peyton Manning, dude. He's become a media personality and a darling that everybody likes and is clever and funny. But final question for you guys. Give me an idea of the itinerary. When you get down there, how soon? Well, you probably start drinking on the way down. Who's the sucker driving? Or are you rich enough to pay somebody? When do you come home? How do you feel in the fucking mornings? Give me some insight.
Driving. We're taking a helicopter down.
You're gonna win your trial.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna pick Tom, Barry, you two up, I guess, wherever we meet you guys, and then we all drive down, and then the RV is gonna be waiting for us. We'll have tons of booze, bleep, 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 and then we will be ready to go. And
lots of Funyuns, Doritos.
Yeah. We haven't even talked about food. We have
I'm eating Fun Dip right now. There may be some
there you
Fun
go.
Dip on the.
No,
good.
That is not on the agenda.
Yeah, and so we're gonna so we'll get there then. Friday night party in the infield, Saturday Xfinity Cup race, and then maybe late night dirt track, then infield late night again, then wake up Sunday.
Do they do concerts? Do they have
there's live music everywhere. Yeah.
That's where I'll be.
Infield, and then you don't want to watch the dirt track racing?
In the mix, Yeah. I'm gonna
go in and out.
Yeah, there's a dirt track right down the road, like walking distance.
Yeah, then there's some fire pits, and there's some hardcore people. Like you'll get to know all the campgrounds, and
there's a few you want to avoid for sure.
Yeah,
I have other questions about that shit. That just out of curiosity, I'm not gonna ask on the show, and because I have so many, I'm overloaded, but. Man, it sounds fun. I can't wait to hear about it. There's no fucking way I'm going. And that's mainly because I'm old and I would just wake up feeling like death. And
you probably missed the race by a day.
Oh, yeah.
True. True. I would honestly go to
Roger show up on Monday and be like, what's that? I thought this was a big deal.
What's your return ETA? What do you guys think on that? Because that influences my decision.
When we're coming back?
Monday?
Yeah, Monday. Come on down, Brandon.
It's possible.
I've got 3 together and 2 together. Right now there's 3 of us, so we can sit 2 and 2. But we're on the same row, so we can get people to move over.
Yeah, I don't really care.
Question: how much are tickets when you say you got a ticket? And that's for the whole weekend, and how much is one?
I think it was 80 for Sunday and like 45 for Saturday. The big money's the RV.
And they don't sell their own beer, so do they not want to make money in Alabama?
Oh, I'm sure they sell their own beer.
No, they sell beer and everything.
They sell beer, but
coolers and shit, right?
They're only rookies buy beer, though.
That's like a lost leader, really. Like, they don't even care about that.
Well, I can't wait. We'll hope to have some pictures with blurred out, edited for children. But I know we're going to talk about Talladega when it comes to the next segment, which is when we make you money. If you listen to me for once in my life for the Super Bowl and the props, I got lucky as fuck.
Hey, how about that missed extra point?
That was huge, as you had said.
Hey, I hammered KC. Told you boys.
Yeah, me too. A lot of props. OT got me, things like
the over.
What's his name? The over on rushing attempts, 16.5. He ended up with 17. Pacheco. But anyway,
I think we made everyone money on
it. It got me the over total too.
Vegas got crushed. For once, the house didn't win. But let's get into it, man. Let's bet some nuts.
It's time for Bet Your Nuts.
All right. I'm trying to load my apps because I made a bunch of drunk bets. I know one of them, I'll start with myself, was I like what the Lakers have done getting Spencer Dinwiddie. He's kind of a glue guy. No, he's not a great shooter, but
Former
he really helps
Piston.
the second unit. Former Piston, yes. Former net. He's a good defender. And the Lakers to make the playoffs were, I'm trying to pull it up. Fuck AT&T, by the way. Many of us know, but they
Been
were
a
like
bad day,
bad day, dude. They were like plus 105 to make the playoffs, and that includes the play-in, I believe. So there's 10 seed, even though the West is tough. So that was my go-to. The Lakers will make the playoffs. They're playing much better. They've got to rest, and I love Dinwiddie. I have
Plus
some others.
105. Yes.
Plus 105. Take that. They will make the playoffs. And, Golden State is finally playing guys like Kuminga and other young talent. So they're looking good as well. But the Lakers are my go-to. Let's next go to Brandon. Brandon, how are you going to make the world of money?
All right. So, because I just don't watch enough NBA because it's hard to watch. Nothing there. NCAA, not a lot there. So I'm going to go what I know. It's a little golf. We're going to go down to the Mexico Open. Steven Yeager sitting 5 back right now. He's plus 2,800. Great value there. I'd throw a little money on Steven Yeager to win this tournament. He's one of the few names that are notable there, and he's playing pretty well as of late. So I like Steven Yeager to win that. And then I've got a little bonus bet, future NFL, long time from now. But if you are a believer in the Kansas City Chiefs in the first three-peat ever at plus 625.
Oh, wow.
Those odds aren't that
like
great.
Those odds. They're pretty damn good right now. So plus 625, throw 20
what are the
bucks on
lines,
that.
though? Like, they're like plus
The lines are like plus
1,200.
1,200.
Never bet against Mahomes. Ever.
Never. But look what they do in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
They find a way. They make players. Mahomes is like Tom Brady. He makes
unless there's a Travis Taylor breakup, then it ruins everything.
I mean,
That's
Travis is a
crushed on
great
the-
crutch, but this is it's almost a mirror image of Tom Brady's career so far, and like how he's gone through, and they get these no-name receivers basically, and then their names by the end of the season, like Rice and like obviously I can't remember any of the rest of the names, but I mean,
Noah Gray, the tight end.
And to your point, Brandon, Andy Reid's a better coach than Bill Belichick.
Oh, for sure. I believe
it comes
so.
down to coaching.
I think Tom is a goat,
agree.
and that's going to be hard to beat overall talent wise. But Mahomes is pretty damn good, and he's got an extra step on Brady, which he's a little bit more mobile and can scout.
Mahomes is the best player we've ever seen.
I think so.
That baseball background has a difference. Rob, I forgot to say.
Baseball
also,
and basketball. He was a
I know
baller
he's
in
an
basketball.
athlete. I got Tennessee at plus 260 to win the regular season. I know they trail Alabama by 1 game with 5 to go, but they're the much better team. So I like that one at plus 260 SEC regular season.
Yeah, well, Alabama's got at Kentucky this weekend, and then Tennessee goes to Coleman in I think March 2nd, and then we beat them by 20 in Thompson Bowling or Food City Center. So are they 20 points better at home? We'll see. My Bet Your Nuts, boys and girls, is down to Atlanta this weekend. We have the defending champ who led for some of the races at Daytona. This is a similar super speedway. You're going to have long stretches. The Ford team. So you have Logano, and then you have Blaney. I think Blaney's the better driver. I'll take Blaney. It's going for plus 1,100 to plus 1,000 plus 1,200, depending on where you can get it. I'd go on Caesars plus 1,100. I'd bet 250 on that. Ryan Blaney to win.
Well, I'm going to go with the same race, and I think this driver probably was the best out of all the drivers last week. Did not finish the race, by the way. Created the wreck that wiped out almost everybody with his aggressiveness, which was kind of surprising. He was really going for it. I think Joey Logano comes out on top of this one. FanDuel's got him at plus 900. He's starting to become a bad boy of NASCAR. You know, he was the young kid, and he's really grown up. He's got 2 Cup championships, and he seems to have really taken that next step in being more aggressive, and it almost worked for him last week. He went up 3 high and got behind. I forget who he got behind. He got behind Michigan boy Brad Keselowski and turned him, which then hit Blaney, who went Dale Earnhardt style into the wall.
Yeah,
but that was wild. So I think he comes out. He's a great speedway driver. I think he brings it home. And then a bonus, I like my guy, number 45, Tyler Reddick, plus 230 to finish in the top 5. So he was right in the mix until that bad crash, and he wasn't able to compete. But I think this is his 3rd year in NASCAR, and he's really made a name for himself, and he's on that 23-11 racing with Jordan and Hamlin. So I look for him to have a big race here this Sunday, and I'm really excited I get to watch the whole race because I don't have to work, so I'll be tuning in.
One thing, Tom, be careful with Logano, because when you become a bad boy, people remember that, and they will be behind you at some point.
This is true. We'll tune in on Fox on
You're talking
Sunday
about
afternoon.
racing, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
I love it, dude. 2 racing calls and a golf call and a basketball call. We're all following suit. Well, I think Tom's a convert, but let's ride that straight on into our final thoughts.
Or words, whichever.
4 words. Would anybody like to go first?
I'll go. This is to the NBA. What in the hell is going on with your product? It is getting worse and worse and worse every year. In the All-Star game, we touched on it, and I won't beat a dead horse, but this was absolutely like 400 points. Come on, like do better. Make it at the end of the season where they can either try or make it only rookies or something. Just make it entertaining. This is just stupid. I mean, absolutely stupid. You can't watch it. And the dunk contest and all this other stuff, like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. So NBA, you got to be better. You're falling way off year by year. The NFL is only getting bigger and stronger, and hell, even NASCAR. I'm starting to get
That's a great point, Brandon. Yes.
So,
Is there anything you would do to the All-Star weekend? And that goes for all 3 of you guys.
change it and not have it in the middle of the season. That would be the first.
Scrap the game, but yeah, Tom, Rob, anything on that? Because it's a fucking disaster.
Make it mean something. I love the baseball All-Star game.
Yeah, make it
winner gets home. Winner gets home.
They got rid of that. They scrapped that.
Honestly, if
when did they do
they
that?
just took 2 weeks off, I would not have noticed.
Yeah, exactly right. Like, it's like the Pro Bowl. Like, you can't even watch the NFL Pro Bowl, really. Like, that's just a gimmick. Like, this clickbait gimmick stuff.
But the NFL Pro Bowl gets better numbers than NBA regular season.
Well, yeah, of course it does. It's the
NFL.
Yeah.
It's still like the lowest of any NFL like viewership.
Yeah, I don't like the Pro Bowl is stupid, but I don't criticize them for doing that because it makes money. The NBA All-Star Game is just like a joke.
Well, Yeah, the LED floors now and like all this stuff, like it's so atrocious. But
Dude, make it rock and jock. Bring down that 25-point hoop.
I want to see
From the
somebody
old
down,
days.
like break the glass backboard again, like back in the day, something like that.
I'm going to go next because I'm going to talk about basketball as well. And if I told you guys I know a player that's averaging 27 and a half points, 7 boards, 3.3 assists, 2.6 steals, 2 blocks, and is an 85% shooter from the line, you'd say that's a pretty good player. And that's at major college basketball. And that's Juju Watkins of USC, a freshman, All-American, 3 times Pac-12 Player of the Week, 13 straight Pac-12 Freshman of the Week, #1 recruit coming in, just a sensational basketball player. USC has a very rich history, going back to the Cheryl Miller days, really putting women's basketball on the map. Now, USC took a 30-year hiatus while the great Pat Summitt and Gino Auriemma and others kind of, the sport has grown so much. And Juju's one of the best players I've seen as a freshman, male or female. That's one thing. Number 2, of course, the idiotic Pac-12 conference, which is loaded with teams in the top 25, Colorado, Utah, I believe, Stanford, UCLA, they're all top 10. There's like 4 in the top 10. They don't market her at all, which is ridiculous. Finally, and I'm not going to get into the Caitlin Clark thing because like Bronny and LeBron, they're different players. Juju's much bigger, more athletic, different defensive style. Caitlin, one of the best shooters ever. Different players. Last thing I'll say with the WNBA, I think it's ridiculous that the minimum age is 22, no matter what. So these young girls, there's NILs and whatnot, but if she gets hurt, like Cheryl Miller blew her knee out before there's women professional basketball her senior year, it was it. She was done. And I don't think it's right for multiple reasons. We're not going to get into all of them that apply with basketball, many of them the same as the men. But for you to have to graduate or at least be the age of 22 to make it to the WNBA is not right. And LeBron had called attention to it. Good for him for using that platform. It makes zero sense to me whatsoever. And I want to see that change right away. That's what I have to say. Juju, if she stays healthy, will break Caitlin Clark's scoring record. But that's because she has to play 4 years. She would be the #1 pick overall this year, in my opinion. So don't have a double standard, NBA and WNBA. It's not right or not fair to these girls.
Very good.
Tom? Wait, who did you already go, Rob?
No, go to Tom next.
I'm gonna go.
You don't want to follow Tom, bro. That's what I was going to do.
No, this isn't my sentimental one, although maybe a little bit. It is I'm glad to be back. We are off a couple weeks, so everyone out there that has tuned in, we do thank you. And it's good to have Brandon back. I know he was under the weather the past couple weeks. This crazy viral, no-name viral infection that seems to be hitting anywhere and everyone, no matter where you're from. Yeah. So glad to have you back, Brandon.
Thank you.
But hope springs eternal. And what is going on this week? Spring training starts. And I'm excited about this year. Like I alluded to earlier, the Tigers have a lot of promise. And AJ Hinch has kind of talked about the success that the Lions had, kind of motivating his Lions or his Tiger team. And this is a young team that if you haven't heard much about them, it's no surprise because, they have not done well, but they did finish second in the Central last year. You've got Tarek Skubal, who is #7 in betting odds to win the AL Cy Young. You have Casey Mize, another young arm who's coming off Tommy John. They've got a really great young nucleus of players. They've gone from one of the worst farm systems to #5. MLB's ranked a farm system. So they've done a really good job. They made a lot of headway last year. They finished 5 games under 500, which was remarkable. If you would have talked to me before the start of the season, I thought they were going to break their record in 2005 or 2004 of 119 losses. But they've got a great coach. And I really do believe that they'll kind of take the blueprint from the Lions and just, go after every game, and they have the coach to do it. And I'm just excited. And today it was 55 degrees here up in the Metro Detroit area, and it's supposed to be in the mid 60s next week. And pretty soon you're going to see leaves budding, and April 5th is opening day. So it's definitely a holiday around here. I'm looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to this team because they've got a legitimate chance to win the Central. So go Tigers.
Love it. Love it. Spring training, all about it. I may go my first time, which I've never been, I'm embarrassed, but I can't wait.
I've been to Arizona spring training, which was phenomenal.
That's where I'd be going. I have a good reason to go, so I'd be stoked. But I'd have to bring the kid, which would suck. But yeah, I can't wait. Rob, take us home.
Yeah, so earlier today I talked about how excited I was to go to Alabama for the race. But there's an overshadowing thing about Alabama, what happened yesterday or late in the evening yesterday, and it's happening today, and it's going to affect people. I fear not only in Alabama, but in the rest of the country. As someone who is currently dealing with this embryo situation, if you don't know, the Alabama Supreme Court ruled an embryo is life, which means there's consequence to this. What it means is that if a father of an embryo has to pay child support infinitely because of that embryo's life, or if you are a parent and you want to have children and you create embryos and you freeze them, you have to pay for that storage for the rest of your life. Or if you are a worker at one of these facilities that host embryos, and let's say you accidentally knock some of these species over and they crash and they get disposed of, that's manslaughter. This is the most archaic ruling that I've ever seen from a court, and it is disgusting. You cannot say I'm pro-life and then also say I want to discourage people that are older from trying to have children. That is contradictory. It is hypocritical. It is ignorant, and it is just plain stupid. Because look, I get religion. I get you have all these kind of situations, but what you are doing is we are as a society waiting older and older for whatever reason to have children. And some of us cannot have children naturally. And to take this avenue away from us and to threaten criminal prosecution for this is wrong. It's ignorant. And like, I don't care where you stand on abortion. This is not abortion. This is science. This is meeting humans. And this is having a chance for people to have children that can't do it naturally. And what you're doing is criminalizing it and essentially holding people hostage. It will decrease the birth rate, which is already struggling, and other states will follow this. And I'm afraid where I live and where Brandon lives and where Raj lives, Tennessee will follow. And it's a sad day in America for people older, like all four of us, our age, people that even think about or even want to experiment having children. It's a sad day, and it's stupid, and it's wrong. And I will bet my legal career it's wrong about the precedents, the legal scholarness behind it. These judges in Alabama are wrong, and it's stupid, and it's evil, and I'm ashamed today to be in the legal profession. And I feel this is the only time I've been on the show saying this, but this one is really stupid. Like this is the dumbest opinion that I have seen in my lifetime. And I know this isn't a political show, but this is just effing stupid. And those are my final words.
No, I absolutely agree. The ramifications and consequences. I couldn't even think of an analogy that would compare. It's so stupid and so short-sighted and just political grandstanding. I'll say it at that, but I was just dumbfounded. I've seen some dumb shit. And again, political grandstanding, but this really takes the cake in my opinion. And where does it end? That's all I'll say. Well, on that note, appreciate everyone for tuning in.
Still like and subscribe, even if you are a Republican.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with political.
No. And this is, and I'll keep talking. I'm sorry. This is the Republicans probably agree with most of what I say.
No, I'm a Republican, and I totally like this is
Nikki Haley, but
this is too much. Like I'm pro-life and all that, but this is ridiculous.
I think Donald Trump would agree. I don't read his opinions, but enough on that. For Birdie Brandon, for Razor Sharp Rob tonight, for Talladega Tom, I am running late. Raj, we appreciate you guys.
Thank you guys all for watching.
Reckless Speculation. Have a great rest of your week.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless